And good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for Game 2 action of the doubleheader of this weekend's 4-game set between your Quinnipiac University Bobcats and the Wagner Seahawks. Game 1 finished about 25 minutes ago, and we just had the call for you before. If you missed that, Wagner came up with an 8-6 victory in 11 innings. So we were on pace to play 16 regardless, so we're going to play at least 18. So I was just looking at this one, Corey. How does the the carryover effect on the long day affect both teams?
Well, I mean, both teams are used to playing these doubleheaders. They're usually on Saturdays, but they're 7-inning varieties. Both games are 7 innings. But anytime there's rain, you're used to playing the 9 innings and then the 7 innings. It's a lot. Sure, it's a lot of baseball, but they're both used to it. And I think if you're the Bobcats, a chance to get right back in it. You had the lead basically the entire game. And Wagner just had 2 in the 11th, and that was it. So Quinnipiac, you got to go back and play the same way you did in the first game and just hope for a little bit better results.
Yeah, definitely. They started off strong. We saw that, but they were unable to touch up the Wagner bullpen, which looked pretty good after they came in after Holmes. And just take a look real quick at Custodio as he starts for the Bobcats in Game 2 here.
Yeah, Custodio, I mean, he has pitched mostly in relief for the Bobcats as Kevin Custodio, but gets the start here in Game 2 of the doubleheader. And, we'll see. It's kind of a different lineup for Wagner here in this one, so we'll see how he fares.
So it will be Boyd to lead off for Wagner. The left-hitting shortstop steps in, and he takes a look at that first pitch strike for the Bobcats. The same exact lineup going around. It is Palmer, Farina, and McGanny left to right in the outfield. The second pitch is low and in the dirt. In for the infield for the Bobcats, Piletsky, Amonte, Savali, and Garino third to first. Kyle Nissen doing the catching yet again here in Game 2, catching Custodio. The third pitch down and in the dirt, and ahead in the count is Boyd, 2-1. It'll be a 2-1 to Boyd. That one is low and inside, and count runs 3-1.
Lamakia did a good job in the first game of starting off at bats with strikes, and unfortunately for the Bobcats, Custodio now behind 3-1.
The 3-1 pitch is on the outside corner, and we saw Boyd do this a couple times in Game 1. Clearly thought that one was a walk, tossed his bat, but the home plate umpire said, come on back here, as the count runs full at 3-2, as he looks pretty upset at that one. So Custodio is going to appear and gets the sign from Nissen. The full count. That one is fouled off down the left field line as the at-bat continues.
And anytime you do something like that, you better expand the strike zone with 2 strikes on you, because the umpires don't like being shown up like that, especially when you toss your bat and head down to first base. So anything close, probably going to be called a strike here.
Full count. That one runs in on the hands, is granted towards second base, off Savali's glove and into right field. So it'll be an E4 on that play as Boyd reaches on the air.
The Bobcats had trouble in the field, in Game 1, and more of the same here to lead off the first in Game 2. A routine ground ball that just bounced off Savali and into right field. So Boyd's on with a leadoff error, and he's got some speed too. So don't expect him to be on first for too much longer.
Definitely, we saw him make some moves there in Game 1. Eddie Brown, the second baseman, number 3, the right hand hitting, will step in. An interesting move here. Playing in Game 2 after he was taken out in Game 1. A snap throw over to first as Boyd is back in time. We saw him get hit in the head on a pitch from Lamakia. It was taken out of the game for a pinch runner. Did not play the rest, but getting the start here in Game 2. First pitch inside, takes it for ball 1.
Yeah, good to see Eddie Brown back in the lineup. You don't want to see any type of injury, especially on a ball up by the head. But good to see Eddie Brown shaking it off and back in the lineup here in Game 2.
So Custodio's going to go from the stretch. That pitch is in there on the inside corner of the fastball for strike 1. Count runs even at 1-1. Everyone playing straight away here as we get Game 2 just underway here, top of the first between the Seahawks and Bobcats. Another toss over to first base, and Boyd is back in time. So Boyd is getting in the head of Custodio early and a couple throws over.
Yeah, and that's what speed can do. Not only is he paying attention to him at first, but it might give Brown a chance to get a good pitch to hit here.
And that one is in yet again. Boyd is going on the throw. Nissen, the throw is a little high, and they said that it hit Brown, so he's going to take first base regardless. So wipes away the stolen base there for Boyd. He's got runners on first and second for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I guess the breaking ball grazed Brown on the elbow, and the home plate umpire, to his credit, was right on it, immediately making the call that said that Brown was hit by the pitch. So first and second, nobody out here for the Seahawks, and they're jumping out to a rally early on here in the first.
So Tommy Higgins, the right-hand hitting third baseman, will step in, and as we said before, hitting third, he's going to square around and bunt. This one's back to Custodio. He's going to get over to second. That is in time for the first out, to the chagrin of the dugout for the Wagner Seahawks. So a bang-bang play there on the bunt as the third base coach is going to go over and talk to the umpire. But Custodio was able to turn around, fire into second base, and get the first out.
Yeah, I kind of thought that Custodio would opt to go to third base because the throw was closer there, and there was a bunt towards the third base line about halfway between the line and the mound, but instead he wheeled and fired to second base and was able to get the out of Eddie Brown at second. Now there's runners at the corners and one away.
So this sets up sort of the double play now. As we said before in the first game, Higgins squared around as much as I've ever seen in my entire life from a cleanup hitter, and did so there and was able to get on the fielder's choice. So it will be Kevin McDonald, the power hitting right fielder, will step in. Another throw over by Custodio and to check on Higgins. So we've got one out here, top half of the first. Runners on the corners. The pitch from Custodio is fouled off to the right-hand side for strike one.
And McDonald, not a big frame, but as you mentioned, Matthias, leads the team in home runs with 3.
So McDonald, sort of with a crouching stance, will stand over the plate, and that one gets low and in the dirt past Nissen, and coming home to score is Boyd, and making a huge aggressive turn there is Higgins at second base, but he's going to stay put. But a wild pass ball, I think we're going to score it as there, and the run comes in, and Wagner is on the scoreboard here in the top half of the first.
Yeah, that's a ball in the dirt, but probably one that if you'd ask Kyle Nissen, you'd have him say that he probably expected to make that play. Instead, it goes through his legs, and Wagner leads at 1-0.
That pitch is on the outside for ball 2. So 2-1 count here, top half of the first. It'll be Higgins off second base and McDonald, the right-hand hitter, crouching over the plate. A 2-1 count. Custodio fires. That one is in the dirt as Nissen scoops that one up as the count runs to 3-1.
And Dan Gooley not waiting around here as Matthew Siciliano, who we saw in the first game, is already up and throwing here in game 2.
So it'll be a 3-1 pitch from Custodio. He fires, and that one is outside. Yet again, another walk here, and that one ended up in the left hand, almost at the end of the left-hand hitter's batter's box. So a little lack of control here by Kevin Custodio for the Bobcats here early in the top half of the first.
Well, Wagner's got 1 run in, runners on first and second, and 1 out, all without the benefit of a hit so far in the top of the first inning. Boyd reached on an error. Brown was hit by a pitch. Higgins bunted, and Brown was forced out at second base, and now a walk to Kevin McDonald.
Yeah, so not exactly the start you wanted if you are Coach Gooley, and the left-hand hitter, designated hitter Lucas, is going to stand in there. That one is outside for ball 1, and really Custodio having a hard time finding the plate.
Yeah, we mentioned Lamacchia doing a good job of it in game 1, but Custodio so far has struggled. And
he's
now
gonna take a step off there, just trying to hopefully get some command in there and take a deep breath. He's got runners on first and second, 1 out, 1 run already in here in the top half of the first. That one is inside, is kicking out of the way is Lucas, and Nissen's going to go out to talk to him, and it seems like Custodio is very rattled, especially early.
Well, it would be one thing, as a pitcher, if you're missing in one certain location. If everything you throw is outside, that's an easy adjustment to make. But when you're missing, like Custodio is, inside, outside, high, and low, it's tough to make an adjustment because your mechanics are just not where they need to be. And now Custodio having that trouble here in the top of the first.
He seems to be all over the plate, and he is. That one is in the hands and drilled into right field on the ground. Coming around and going towards home. McGanny's going to toss the throw in, just not in time. Excuse me. Nissen's going to fire down to second, and in there with an RBI single is going to be Lucas. So it is a RBI single for John Lucas, and it is 2-0 Seahawks here with runners on second and third and only one out.
Well, Custodio gets behind in the count, and when you're sitting 2-0 like John Lucas was, you can look for one pitch in a certain spot. For Lucas, it was the fastball inside. That's what he got, and he drilled it into right field. Picks up the RBI, and now Wagner with runners at second and third, just one away, and it's quickly getting away from the Bobcats early on here in game 2.
Exactly as you said there, Corey. The wind picking up yet again here, as Alfano is going to take a hack at that one and misses, so strike one on that. Alfano came in as a defensive replacement in game 1. He's going to get the start in left field here, hitting in the 6-hole for Wagner. It'll be an 0-1. Yet again in the dirt, that one just behind Nissen, but able to keep it in front of the umpire for ball 1.
Yeah, Alfano played pretty well in his couple of bats. In game 1, he came on and in his first at bat hit a double to right center field, a good piece of hitting.
And that was able to drive in a run to lead a run. That one's going to get into right field as one run will score. Looks like they're going to hold him up at third. So back-to-back RBI singles for the Seahawks here. He's actually going to go to second after the throw got off Garino's glove and into foul territory, but Custodio picks it up. But yet again, they're going to run in the same position here, second and third, and only one out. And there's already three runs in here in the top half of the first.
Well, that's an RBI single for Alfano, and then I'd imagine Garino will get charged for an error at first base after the cutoff throw bounced off his glove. That allowed Alfano to go to second base, and now Dan Gooley is out of the dugout to talk to his battery.
Not a surprise, as we've seen Custodio pretty rattled here early, and not the start you wanted coming out of really the last cumulative 6 innings you've played, going back to the last couple innings against in game 1. So a rocky performance here by Custodio to start off. He's only got one out here thanks to the bunt back to him. So the catcher number 7, Gabby Ramirez, is going to step up. He did not play in game 1 as Hunter caught the first game. That one is high up and in the zone past the letters, but a little too high for ball 1.
So the Bobcats committing their second error of the inning. They had at least 6 in game 1.
That one is fouled off to the right-hand side and will get past the bleachers here at the Quinnipiac baseball field. Only the top half of the first, 3 runs already in for the Seahawks. They lead at 3-0, one out with runners on second and third. It'll be a 1-1 Custodio. Cut on and missed by Ramirez as he took a swing at that one. It was low and in the dirt. So ahead on the count here is Custodio at 1-2, trying to get his second out of the inning. It's from the stretch. Will be Custodio, checks both runners. That one is in on the hands and swung on and missed for strike 3. So a strikeout here for Custodio, trying to regain some composure here, and has now got 2 outs in the top half of the first.
Good breaking ball there, inducing the swing and miss of Gabby Ramirez, and now 2 outs for the Bobcats. And 3 runs in the first inning, obviously not ideal, but certainly not insurmountable. So Custodio would love to just minimize the damage here and get Jack Rice.
As Jack Rice, the first baseman, will take a pitch on the outside for ball 1. Rice hitting back in the 8-hole and playing first base like he did in game 1. And one thing we noticed with him in game 1 was really able to move some runners up in key situations. That pitch is going to be a breaking ball, just missing outside as the count runs to 2-0. He's going to fall back here on another count is Custodio.
Well, that's a borderline pitch, but Custodio's struggling, and sometimes when you're struggling, you don't get those borderline pitches.
And that one's just inside, and like you just said, Corey, another borderline pitch, but is called for a ball. So the count runs to 3-0 for Custodio. So we'll see what he can try and get out of this jam with 2 outs. The 3-0 is going to be popped up here behind the plate as Nissen's going to make a run on it, but it is back behind us and out of play.
Jack Rice swinging 3-0, and something you don't see every day out of an 8-hitter. Kind of backwards here. We've seen Higgins square around to bunt out of the 3-hole, and then Jack Rice getting the green light out of the 8th spot, but whatever's working, whatever they're doing, it's certainly working for Wagner.
It'll be a 3-1. That one's going to be popped up on the infield, coming in to make the catch. And Monty's going to settle under it and make the catch. So after 1/2 of play, it'll be 3 runs on 2 hits, 2 errors, and 2 left on base for Wagner. At the end of the half, it is 3-0 Wagner. You listen to Quinnipiac Baseball here on theqbsn.com.
Branches. Keep up with the latest news, campus celebrities, and helpful blogs just for you at www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Again, it is www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Hey Bobcat fans, don't forget to go to www.theqbsn.com for live broadcasts. Offers you everything you need to know about the Bobcat teams you know and love. Again, go to theqbsn.com, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports. Well, everybody's heard about the bird. Hey Bobcat fans, looking for the best fried chicken? Hey Bobcat fan.
Back here in Hamden, Connecticut, as we head to the bottom half of the first inning of Game 2 of the doubleheader here, as the Bobcats are going to come up to bat as Dale Herring takes the mound for the Wagner Seahawks, and he will face the same exact lineup we had in Game 1, and with that, it'll be Ben Farina, the center fielder, stepping up, the right-hand hitter, will lead it off for the Bobcats.
Well, the Bobcats would love to answer back here. You don't need to get it all in one inning. It's only the bottom of the first inning, and so Farina will look to do the trick here to lead things off in the first.
There'll be a pitch from Herring. That one is quick to act is Farina. That is fouled off and out of play for strike 1. And Farina had a pretty good game in Game 1, was able to get some hits here and there, but coming around here to Game 2, trying to have a better one. This one is going to be drilled into right field for a base hit, and it's going to be a leadoff runner here for the Bobcats as a leadoff single here for Ben Farina.
Nice inside-out swing there from Ben Farina, and you know, the pitch wasn't necessarily where you always put the base hit to right field. The pitch was more on the inner half of the plate, but Farina kept his hands in and did a good job to fight it off and put it into right field for a base knock.
So it's going to bring up the freshman left fielder, Zach Palmer, who's probably pretty happy the last game was over as he went 0 for 6 trying to restart this one. And that one's going to be into right field for another single here and another base hit for the Bobcats. So back-to-back singles to right field, and the Bobcats look to get something going here early.
Well, that's more of a prototypical inside-out swing there from Palmer. That ball on the outer edge. And hitting it right where it was pitched was Palmer. A perfect job of hitting in through the hole on the right side. And now the Bobcats have something going here. First and second, nobody out for the heart of the order.
Nice piece of hitting, as we said, there for Palmer, who actually, I will rephrase, was 1 for 7 in that game as he had that single down the right field line that somehow fell back in. So it will be Mickey Amonte, the shortstop, is going to step in here in the 3-hole. The breaking ball is in the dirt for ball 1.
Well, so now the Bobcats down by 3 runs, but have certainly, at least at this point in the inning, answered back.
Will be runners off first and second. The 1-0 is just inside and on the hands. The count runs 2-0. So back-to-back singles here for the Bobcats. They're trying to answer after 3 runs in the top half of the inning for the Seahawks. Is none away here in the bottom half of the first. The 2-0 is a breaking ball just in the dirt and away for 3-0. So a 3-0 count here to Amonte, who had a halfway decent game in Game 1 and came in as the hottest hitter in the Bobcat lineup, leading the team in average. So Herring is going to stare in at his catcher. Ramirez here gets the sign He's going to go back from the stretch. The 3-0 is in the dirt. That's a 4-pitch walk, and the bases are loaded for the Bobcats here as Ramirez is going to go out and talk to Herring.
Well, you know, if you're Wagner, you can't be too happy with the inning. Obviously, to this point, bases loaded, nobody out. And it's one of those things where, as a pitcher, you see 3 runs. You're spotted a 3-run lead before you even get out on the mound. And it's unfortunate if you're a Wagner fan that to this point, Herring hasn't gotten anybody out, and as the bases loaded, nobody out. You know, it's such a confidence booster as a pitcher to have a 3-0 lead before you even get out on the mound. And Herring, to this point, just hasn't been able to retire anybody.
Hasn't really gotten anything command-wise. That breaking ball drops in there for strike 1 as Chris McGanny steps in. And he had a big game in the first game here this afternoon. He had 2 home runs out to right field, thanks in large part to the win, but 2 solo shots, weren't able to get any men on base for that. So Herring's still going to go from the stretch here with the bases loaded. That one is in the dirt for ball 1, so the count evens up at a ball and a strike apiece. So McGanny up here with the bases loaded, and something that he probably wish he had in game 1.
Yeah, and in the 9th inning, don't forget, he came a couple of feet shy of a 3rd home run. Would have been a walk-off.
That one is inside and hits McGanny. So they're going to, a run will come in here on the hit by pitch. And yet again, Herring cannot retire a batter yet. 4 batters up, everyone on base. And now it'll be Kyle Nissen after the hit by pitch here. And he's still going to have the bases loaded as well.
Yeah, and still nobody out. McGanny doing a good job, exactly like you're taught on a pitch inside. You turn away from it, you get your back exposed and hit him right in the back, and he trotted down to first base, a well-earned RBI, and still the bases loaded and nobody out. Now for Kyle Nissen, looks like we're going to have a trip to the mound from the Wagner side.
Yeah, and you'd figure you're going to get a trip here after not retiring a batter in the first 4. So definitely not a great start if you are a Wagner fan, not retiring a batter here. But we're definitely going to look like we're bound to see some offense this afternoon here in Game 2, thanks in large part to 4 runs in just over a half inning of play. So Kyle Nissen's going to come up here, the right-hand hitting catcher who had not the best of games in Game 1. So he's going to try and erase that as he came in hitting over 300 for the year as one of the Bobcats' top hitters. So we'll see if he can turn things around here as the Wagner coach and catcher and pitcher are still meeting out on the mound.
Taking a look around the NEC scoreboard, Bryant at home to Long Island has fallen by a score of 4-2. A doubleheader in Emmitsburg, Maryland, is Sacred Heart won the first game 5-3 and well on their way to winning the second game. They lead in the top of the 7th inning 10-2.
So everyone's back in. Nissen's going to step back into the box. It will be Herring still from the stretch here with the bases loaded as Nissen steps in. The first pitch is low and in the dirt, but blocked by Ramirez, so no advance on the base runners there, so the count will go to 1-0. And you got to think here, if you're Nissen, you almost want to take here, unless you see a meatball over the plate, because Herring has not been able to get anything really partially close, and if so, it's been hit out to right field. That one is in there for strike 1.
Yeah, Farina and Palmer both stroking singles out to right. And since then, Amonte has walked on 4 pitches, and then McGanny was hit by a pitch. So tough sledding so far for Herring.
Be a 1-1. That breaking ball is low and in the dirt, blocked by Ramirez. The count goes 2-1. As it seems he's gone, and that breaking ball hasn't really had command, something that we saw from Holmes, the Wagner starter, in Game 1. So the bases are loaded. All the runners are going to come off here as the infield playing at normal depth. It'll be Herring from the stretch. That one on the outside corner. Paints it for strike 2.
That's good location there from Herring. A fastball on the outside corner. Nothing really Nissen could do with it, and that's where you got to live if you're a pitcher.
Exactly. A nice pitch there. We saw Lamakia do that a bunch of times in the first game as he was able to come away with 6 strikeouts for the Quinnipiac side of things. So we'll see what Herring can do for the Wagner Seahawks. So it'll be a 2-2 count here to Nissen. That one is hit over towards the shortstop, over to Boyd. He's going to flip over to second. Pumps fakes the throw to first because Nissen is in time. So Another run in for the Bobcats, but they will get the out at second base for Wagner.
Yeah, Nissen runs pretty well for a catcher. No chance to get the double play. Ball wasn't hit hard enough to begin with. So a 6-4 force out there puts runners at the corners. Still just one away, and the Bobcats trailing only by a run.
And that's the key here for the Bobcats. You still have runners on the corners here with only one out. You already got 2 runs in. Another signal here for Joe Poletsky, and he could tie this game up easily. So,
yeah, but you know, a fly ball to the outfield does the trick too. So only one away.
Poletsky's going to stand in there. He's going to take the first pitch right down the middle for strike one. The third baseman, the right-hand hitter, came in at game 1, not having the best of games 1, 4, 5. So would like to change that. Nissen almost caught off there as the first motion there by Herring gets both runners back.
Yeah, you don't see that work too often, but the fake to third, look to first move, caught Nissen, but I don't think Herring expected it to work either because he didn't throw it to first.
This time he just goes back to first, and back in time is Nissen.
You know, pitchers will make that move and sometimes kind of do it half-heartedly, assuming that the runner on first isn't going to get fooled by it. Well, Nissen broke immediately as soon as the leg was lifted.
That one is drilled into second base and caught there on the tops there, by Brown. So a line out there by Poletsky as Nissen is back in time on the throw over to first. So 2 away here for the Bobcats with runners on the corners.
Tough luck there for Poletsky. Hit it right on the screws, but unfortunately right at Eddie Brown at second base, who made a nice play. Left his feet a little bit to make the catch and then threw it over to first base. Nissen was able to get back safely, but Poletsky probably deserved to get the game-tying RBI there here on the bottom of the first inning, but hit it right at Eddie Brown, and instead he's retired for out number 2.
Gabe Garino is going to step up. He takes that pitch in the dirt for ball 1. Garino playing first base and hitting back in the same hole as we said last time. The same lineup here for the Bobcats from game 1 to game 2. It'll be Nissen off first and Amonte off third. That one is fouled off right behind here, down the third base line for strike 1. Garino in the first game had a single and was 1 for 4 on the day with a walk. So trying to make a better outing. This one is dribbled down towards shortstop. Boyd's going to play it, but it's going to go off his glove and into left field. So it's going to be an E6 there by Boyd, who looked like he had an easy put out, but it took a hop off the heel of his glove.
Yeah, Garino, not exactly the fastest player going down the line, so Boyd decided he was going to stay back on the ball. But when you do that, you know, every hop the ball takes is just a better chance that there's going to be a bad one in there somewhere. And the last one for Boyd was the bad hop. It hopped off his bare hand and into left field. So the Bobcats tie the game here at 3, and we're only in the bottom of the first.
So it's going to be runners on first and second for Nick Savali, the freshman second baseman who got the start in game 1 for McGanny, because McGanny moved out to right field. And he's going to do the same here in game 2. Had a huge RBI to give the Bobcats the lead, but they would eventually lose that and the game. So another start here for Savali. It'll be first and second. Looks at that one as Garino's caught off first. A snap throw down by Ramirez. He's going to get caught up here as the ball is dropped by Brown at second base. And a huge break for the Bobcats there as they get to advance runners on what was a broken play, and Garino was caught dead in the water there.
Well, Garino, with a runner in front of him, decided that he was going to try and take a huge secondary lead, and he was caught easily off of first base, and they had him in the rundown, but Eddie Brown drops the ball, and the Bobcats catch a break. It's now second and third.
So it's going to be a 1-1 count here to Savali with now runners on second and third. He's going to take a step out here to try and regain some breath here. As we said, a lot of things going down here in only the first inning. 3-3 ball game, bottom half of the first. Savali's going to dig in. That one is lifted in the left center field, moving over and making the diving catch there. No, it's not. It is dropped off the glove, and 2 runs is going to score there on that play. So Savali coming up with a big hit here for the Bobcats as they take the 5-3 lead.
Yeah, Savali didn't get it flushed, kind of caught it off the end of the bat, and making a nice effort at it in center field.
Was Miller out there?
Miller, but couldn't hold on to it, and Savali picks up 2 RBIs, and the Bobcats lead at 5-3.
A huge hit there by Savali. As we said, now he's got 3 RBIs here on the day. 2 huge ones there. So 5-3, bottom half of the first. Only 2 away. Bartlett's going to ground that one to second. Brown's going to take it up, throw it over to Rice at first base, and the inning is over. So, but not before the Bobcats can answer the 3 runs from the Seahawks in the top half with 5 of their own. 5 hits on 3 hits, and 1 error, and 1 left on base. So after 1 inning of play, the Bobcats lead at 5-3. You're listening to the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Hey Bobcat fans, don't forget to go to www.theqbsn.com for live broadcasts, game stories, pictures, and more. TheQBSN.com offers you everything you need to know about the Bobcat teams you know and love. Again, go to TheQBSN.com, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports. Hey Bobcat fans, follow us on Twitter and Facebook for daily updates, reminders, and more from the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports.
Back here at in Hampton, Connecticut for the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network presents Quinnipiac Baseball here. Game 2 of the doubleheader is off to a bang. 8 runs here in the first inning as Wagner scored 3 in the top half of the first, and the Bobcats answered back with 5 of their own. So Kevin Custodio, who really couldn't find the plate in the top half of the inning, now has a 2-run lead at 5-3 here as Miller is going to step in as he's was not able to corral in that ball on the hit by Savali. The left-hander is going to take in there, squares around real quick, takes it back, and that one is low and in the dirt for ball 1.
For Custodio, it's almost as if you're a new life. You give up 3 runs, but now, next thing you know.
That one's lifted into center field. Farina's going to shade over and is going to camp under that one for the first out of the inning as Miller flies out.
As I was saying, you give up 3 runs in the top of the first, but the next time you take the mound, you're up 2, and now you're pitching with the lead, and it gives you that much more confidence.
So Boyd's going to come up here. He led off the game with reaching on an E4. So he would come around to score and was able to move up on the pass ball as Boyd had a pretty good game in game 1. The left-hand hitter is going to stand in there. That one is in for a called strike 1. Looking back to Boyd, he was 2 for 3 on the day in game 1. That pitch is in there and lifted into left center field. He's going to spread the outfielders and passing Farina. He's going to throw it into second. Boyd chugging his way to second base. He's in there with a stand-up double for the Wagner Seahawks there, and another runner on base here early.
Farina got a great break on that ball in center field. Ended up in left center, but he was on the move very quickly, and what probably should have been an easy double for Boyd turned into something that was a little bit more difficult, though Boyd, was in standing. Farina did a good job to get over there and cut it off.
So Eddie Brown's going to step in now as he was hit by a pitch in his last at-bat, something that ended his first game. That one he's hit again. So for the 3rd time in as many at-bats, Eddie Brown on base via the hit by pitch. So he's going to go up to first base, and he's clearly not happy about that.
Well, no, but I'm sure he'll take it any way he can get it. You know, I mean, at least if you're Eddie Brown, he wasn't hitting the head like he was in game 1. He probably wants to swing the bat, and I understand that, but you know, Wagner now is first and second and 1 away for the heart of their order.
As you said, coming up now is Tommy Higgins, the right-hand hitting third baseman, as he takes a big divot out of the right-hand batter's box there. A lot of dirt flying up. We've already had a lot of that today. Custodio going around, and that one is in the dirt for ball 1. So yet again, Tommy Higgins, the third base bunter I have never seen before in my life, squared around again on that one. Now with runners on first and second, and he's going to do it again now. takes it back. That one is in on the hands, and he pops it up in between short right field here. Going over is McGanny. He's going to go over to make the catch for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, Higgins looked like he was going to square around. I believe it was him in game one who squared around and then ended up with a base hit on a hit and run play, actually. So Higgins tried to square around and pull it back. Another slash attempt, but this time popped it up. Savali made the catch in short right. Now there's 2 away.
2 away. Runners on first and second now for McDonald, who power hitting right-hand hitter, moved up to the cleanup spot as everyone moved up sort of a spot in the lineup here. A lot of the wind still kicking up here in this late evening game. Runners on first and second. Castillo's going to go from the stretch, checks the runner back, and the ball is outside for ball 1.
Like we mentioned, a 16-inning affair, doubleheader, and it's going to turn into a little bit more with an 11-inning game 1. And usually we don't end up out here this long. The doubleheaders that start at 1 o'clock are usually both 7-inning games. And actually, they start at noon, so kind of a rare long day here as the throw over to first is not in time. But luckily, it's past daylight savings time, or daylight savings time has started, and the clock's sprung forward, if you will. And we got an extra hour of daylight, so hopefully still light out by the time this one's over.
So now Garino's going to play behind the runner after he threw back over. That one is fouled off behind us and reaching the dorms, sitting right next to the field here. But Garino now playing off behind Brown after an unusual throw over to first base with the runner on second there from Castillo.
Now it's how they got Garino in the bottom of the first inning, so maybe tried to turn it around on Wagner.
Playing games as a Monty with Boyd. Boyd still playing with Castillo there, and time is called by McDonald.
Well, Boyd is taking a massive lead out at second base. He's about 15 or 20 feet off the bag. And if you're Quinnipiac, sure you can keep him close, but with 2 away, you don't want to cut off any holes there are in the infield.
That one's lifted into left field. Going over is Palmer. He's going to get under that one. Squeeze the glove for the third out of the inning. So no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on base. After 1.5, the Bobcats lead at 5-3. You're listening to QBSN. We'll be right back.
Hey, Bobcat fans. Looking for the best fried chicken fingers around? Go to Griff's Chicken Shack.
Griff's giant chicken fingers are pure white meat, always fresh and never frozen. They're seasoned in a savory marinade, hand-battered and served fresh and hot every time.
Check out the menu. Pulled pork sandwiches, New Orleans-style red beans and rice, gumbo, and wraps you won't find anywhere else.
Like the Elvis, the Bayou Bomb, and the Burning Caesar wrap. Plus, 12 different homemade sauces for your dipping pleasure.
And if you're really hungry, try the 10-Finger Challenge and get your picture on the Man vs. Bird Wall of Fame.
Griff's is located at 3000 Whitney Ave, a mile south of the QU campus. Q cards are accepted.
As we're back here in Hamden, as Ben Farina is going to reintroduce himself here to the top of the lineup for the Bobcats, as he would come around after stroking a single in the right field. He'd come around to score the first run of the game for the Bobcats. So he's going to lead off the second here, and a 1-for-1 quick start here as Herring's going to go back on the mound. That one is eye level for Farina for ball 1.
Yeah, Herring's just got to come back on if you're Wagner and settle back in, keep it at a 2-run game, because it seems like the Seahawks can get to Custodio.
That one is low and in the dirt, and looks like more of the same from Herring here, not really able to find the plate or losing control. A lot of pitches in the dirt and making Gabby Ramirez work a lot back there. Farina's going to take a step out, going to step right back in. So the wind blows across. That one blows across the plate for strike 1.
Yeah, the wind hasn't really stopped blowing since we got things going, about 4 hours and 40 minutes ago.
That 1-2 is laced into right center field in between the outfielders as Farina has got 2 at-bats and 2 singles to the right side of the field.
Well, Ben Farina showing why he's number 3 all-time on Quinnipiac's hit list as he slowly has made his way up that list throughout his 4 years here. And right there, a great piece of hitting on the fastball outside, drilling it into right center field, and he's on first. A leadoff hit for the 2nd time today in 2 innings.
Exactly, and he's chasing his own hitting coach. Binkowski there as the all-time leading hitter here is checked over back to first by Herring as Palmer is going to step up here after going 0 for 6 in his first at-bats. Is 2 for 2 with a single in game 1 and now another single here in game 2. That one fastball up at the head there and for ball 1.
Yeah, Palmer really struggled in his first few at-bats, but a strange blue base hit in the 11th maybe will get the confidence going a little bit. Now he's got a hit in his first at-bat here, looking for another one.
Another toss over to first as Farina dives back in here. So top half of the second here, bottom half of the second, Bobcats lead at 5-3. Farina off first, Palmer at the plate. Farina's going off, and that one is grounded towards third base, played there by Higgins, and thrown over to first for the first out. Farina's going to third there, and he is called out there, so it'll be a 5-3-6 there. 5-3-5, excuse me. So 2 outs there for the Bobcats, and a sort of odd play, but Wagner able to make the 2 outs.
Well, we've seen a couple of strange plays at third base. We've seen a 7-1 put out that we saw in game 1, and that time the old garden variety 5-3-5 double play. You know, Ben Farina going on the hit and run, and to his credit, never stopped going around second base. He was going to try to go to third the whole way, and although he was, you know, you don't want to. You don't want to run yourself out of an inning here if you're Quinnipiac, and unfortunately that's what Ben Farina has done and has put in jeopardy of doing there as Amonte takes a fastball high for ball 1.
Amonte walked in his first at-bat and also come around to score. Here's the team's leader in average, who said coming into game 1. Takes that one. That one is grounded towards short there to Boyd. He's going to gobble it up. Criddle hop over to first base for the 3rd out of the inning, so it is a 1-2-3 inning there for the Seahawks at the end of 2. The Bobcats still lead at 5-3. You're listening to Quinnipiac Baseball here on the QBSN.com.
Hey Bobcat fans, follow us on Twitter and Facebook for daily updates, reminders, and more from the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports. Have you been waiting for a campus magazine just for Quinnipiac ladies? It is here. Her Campus is an online women's publication with over 100 university branches. Keep up with the latest news, campus celebrities, and helpful blogs just for you at www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Again, it is www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac.
We head to the top half of the 3rd inning here. It will be 5, 6, and 7 in the Seahawk lineup as they face Kevin Castillo. He's going back out there for his 3rd inning of action here. It'll be the designated hitter, John Lucas, who singled in his first at-bat and was stranded at third. But he's going to try and lead off the inning here as yet again the wind continues to blow and get in the eyes of many players out there. So,
well, it seems like the gusts at least have died down. Now it's just kind of a steady but slower wind.
So that one is going to be drilled in a deep right. Going back is McGann. He's looking up, and that one is way over his head. It's going to be a solo home run here for Lucas. 1 pitch and 1 home run here for the Wagner Seahawks as they're going to cut the lead here to 5-4 as he's jogging around the bases, dodging some wind dust, and coming around here and going to be greeted by a whole bunch of happy Seahawks.
Well, I'll tell you, Lucas really put a charge into that one, and Chris McGanny's out there playing right field, and Lucas hit that, and it was almost like, you know, you hit 2 home runs out to right field. This is how you get all of a home run to right field, because that ball, wind or not, would have been out of here by plenty. John Lucas with a bomb to right field.
Exactly, and that one, as you said, pretty far out there into the auxiliary soccer field behind the right field wall. It's going to be Alfano's going to step up here, takes strike one on the first pitch, and making quick work is Castillo, as that one is outside for ball one. So the solo home runs cuts the deficit to 1 here in the top of the third, 5-4. That breaking ball on the outside corner for strike 2. Alfano singled in his last at bat and was stranded at second and moved up to second after the E6. The 1-2 is in the dirt for ball 2. And as we said in here, the game 2 of the doubleheader is these teams very close in the NEC standings. 2-2, another pitch low and in the dirt, and Quinnipiac able to take a 2-game lead now after winning game 1. So we'll see how everything plays out, as got a game 2 of the doubleheader today and 2 more again tomorrow with Corey Hersch and Brian Farrell on the call here on theqbsn.com. So it'll be a full count pitch as that one is hit up and in, and that one looks like it might have got him in the back or in the back of the helmet.
Yeah, it did catch and caught Alfano. That's the third hit batsman that Lamacchia, the third batsman Lamacchia has hit. Meanwhile, Herring has also hit a batter, so lots of pitches inside here. Don't think, I'm sure there's no intent, but especially there on the 3-2 pitch, but lots of batters earning some hard-earned bruises here in game 2.
Definitely. Castillo now has 3 hits. Batsman hit Brown twice. Brown's been hit 3 times on the day, and the bunting man himself, Higgins, squares around it yet again. That one is fouled off towards the right-hand side. Excuse me, that was Ramirez.
You get confused because Higgins has squared around nearly every time he's been to the plate, but that one was Ramirez, and that one was close to hitting him as well, but it actually hit the bat before it could have hit Ramirez as he squared around.
As Castillo's going to check over at Alfano on first base, and Ramirez wearing the 7 and Higgins wearing the 1, so kind of a quick glance looking the same. He's going to square all the way around here. That breaking ball is bunted down the first base line, and Castillo is going to hit it over to first base, and that one is for the second out of the first out of the inning, as moving up to second base is Alfano.
It's a 1-4 sacrifice there for Ramirez, as he does the job very nicely at getting the runner into scoring position with 1 away, and Savali was over there covering, and on the underhand by Custodio, looked like he couldn't quite find the first base bag, so he looked like he had to go back and get it, because he didn't get there the first time.
So Jack Royce is going to step in, the first baseman, takes a breaking ball in there for strike 1. It's going to be Alfano off second base after the hit by pitch and moving up on the sacrifice bunt there. 1 away here, top half of the third. The Bobcats lead at 5-4. Custodio going to look back at Alfano. That one slides across the plate for strike 2, much to the chagrin of Jack Rice, checking back at the home plate umpire. So it'll be quickly ahead of the count here as Castillo 0-2. Going back from the stretch, looking back, and second base, and that one's grounded towards second base, picked up there by Savali. He's going to throw over to first base for the second out of the inning, but moving over to third base, as we said, is Alfano, as Miller is going to step up to the plate here with 2 outs.
Center fielder number 8, Ian Miller.
Well, some more situational hitting there from Wagner, and Rice, as he mentioned. In the first game, he did a great job of moving runners over. He does so there. Hits a ground out to the right side to move the runner to third. There is 2 away, so you're still going to need a hit to score him, or a pass ball or wild pitch. But Rice with a productive out there.
That one from Castillo is right down the middle for strike 1 as Ian Miller gets that one to pass by. He put a jolt into 1 in the top half of the second, but camping underneath it was Farina for the first out, so he's 0 for 1. It'll be Alfano off third. That one is grounded back to Savali at second. Toss over to Garino for the third out of the inning. So Castillo looking like he's settling in here after 3 innings pitched. So after 2.5, the Bobcats lead at 5-4 after the Lucas home run. You're listening to Quinnipiac Baseball on the QBSN. We'll be right back.
Have you been waiting for a campus magazine just for Quinnipiac ladies? It is here. Her Campus is an online women's publication with over 100 university branches. Keep up with the latest news, campus celebrities, and helpful blogs just for you at www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Again, it is www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Hey Bobcat fans, don't forget to go to www.theqbsn.com for live broadcasts, game stories, pictures, and more. TheQBSN.com offers you everything you need to know about the Bobcat teams you know and love. Again, go to TheQBSN.com.
Back here in the bottom half of the third inning in game 2, as it's going to be Chris McGanny leading it off for the Bobcats. The normal second baseman playing right field today in game 1 as well here in game 2. After hitting 2 home runs in game 1, came up and was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Now comes up here in the third inning with Herring on the mound. He's going to look into Ramirez as now McGanny's going to square around, takes it back as that one is in the dirt for ball 1.
Well, we saw McGanny try to bunt for a hit in the first inning of game 1. Everybody kind of playing backwards here today. I don't know what it is. Is there a full moon out tonight, you know?
Who knows at this point. That breaking ball drops in there for strike 1. We've seen a Frisbee come across the field. We've had a whole bunch of wind dust. We've had an 11-inning first game. We're going to have another 7 here today. At least, if not more. That one squared around. He's going to take it back as that breaking ball was left up in the zone for ball 2. So just a all-around sort of bizarre day and series of events here as McGanny ahead of the count 2-1 as the Bobcats have the 5-4 lead here in the bottom half of the third. No runs and no real offense since the first inning. And that one is lifted into right field, shading over, and that one is just going to be foul. So just a long strike there for McGanny.
Well, McGanny, who's really worn out the right side of the field today. A couple of home runs. He had a very strange blue base hit on a ball that looked like it was out to shortstop, and the wind took it all the way into right field, ended up falling for a base hit, and that time McGanny looking to head down towards the line a little bit more, but couldn't find it. Instead, it's a foul ball.
So it's going to be a 2-2 count here to McGanny, and yet again, he's going to turn around, and this one he's hit by a pitch. So now we've had 5 hit by pitches here in just over 2.5 innings of play here, as now Kyle Nissen is going to step up just like he did in the last at-bat with a runner on first base, this time in McGanny.
Well, McGanny's been hit twice. Eddie Brown has been hit twice. And who got hit for Wagner?
Alfano was also hit in the last inning.
Got hit in the third. So 5 hit batsmen. And McGanny on with a leadoff base runner here.
The righty Nissen will step in. He's going to take that one for strike 1. As we said, Nissen not the greatest of games in game 1 and wanted to turn it around. He ran it out into a fielder's choice in the first inning, but he would come around to score one of the 5 Bobcat runs. It's going to be McGanny off first base. Herring's going to check him back at him. That one is delivered and fouled off here by Nissen right back towards us, and Ramirez went to go back to get it, and the umpire said, nah, I got this one. Going to play with this one. So we have a 0-2 count here on Nissen, who's trying to get out of a little bit of a funk here, sort of today. So he's going to dig into the batter's box here. 0-2 is the count. Herring's going to look back over to first, delivers towards home. That one is low and away for ball 1.
So now if you're Nissen, you found yourself in an 0-2 count. Now, still behind in the count 1-2, but Herring hasn't shown that he has command of his fastball or really any of his other pitches here, so a chance for Nissen here to work the count.
That'll be a 1-2. That one is drilled right back towards the first. The pitcher, he ducks at second base. His diving stop there was made by Brown, and looked like he tried to flip it towards the shortstop, but in time to be safe there was McGanny.
Yeah, the ball got past the pitcher and Herring, and then Brown dove to knock it down, and then we kind of lose sight of it there between all the bodies that are between us and the second base bag, but it looked like Brown just couldn't get it into his possession to try and flip it to Seth Boyd at shortstop. So an infield hit there for Kyle Nissen, and now the Bobcats looking for more here. They're up by 1, but first and second and nobody out.
Herring's going to step off as another dust cloud comes around, and now Paluzzi, who lined out to Brown, who hit one right on the screws, but Brown was able to make the catch with runners on first and third in the first. And that one is fouled back So now he's got runners on first and second here. No outs, and the senior third baseman, as we said, kind of with Nissen here, trying to break out of a little bit of a funk between carryover from game 1 here to game 2.
Well, the Bobcats are first and second and nobody out, and the last time they did that was in the first inning. They pushed 5 runs across in the first inning, so the Bobcats looking for a little bit more.
And the 0-1 there is going to be just low, below the knees for ball 1. Might have been a little bit outside as well. So reach the sort of the senior laden part of the lineup here for the Bobcats as Poletsky is in, the junior Nissen on first, and McGanny over at second base. That one is drilled in towards left field. Coming in is Alfano. He's going to make a jump up and catch that one for the first out of the inning. So another one hit right on the screws by Poletsky, but yet again, right to another Wagner fielder.
Yeah, he did that back in the first inning rather, a line out right to Eddie Brown at second base. This time, Poletsky a little bit out in front on his front foot and flicked it out to left field, got a good piece of it, and then Alfano came in on the ball and it almost went over his head, had to jump a little bit to get it. Poletsky retired once again. Now 2 outs and 1 on. Oh, 2 on and 1 out, rather.
2 on and 1 out as the left-hand hitting first baseman Gabe Garino stands in there, takes a cut at that one. It is dribbled foul towards the Bobcat dugout. Here as Gabe Garino was able to reach base on an error in the first inning. He also came around to score one of the Bobcat runs. So it'll be an 0-1 count to Garino. Herring looking back into Ramirez, gets it. The sign, that one is driven out to, to short second base, flipped over to shortstop, back over to first. The 4-6-3 double play to end the inning for Wagner. So no runs across for the Bobcats. We've played 3 here. The Bobcats still lead at 5-4. You listen to Quinnipiac Baseball here on the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network.
Waiting for a campus magazine just for Quinnipiac ladies? It is here. Her Campus is an online women's publication with over 100 university branches. Keep up with the latest news, campus celebrities, and helpful blogs just for you at www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Again, it is www.hercampus.com/Quinnipiac. Hey Bobcat fans, don't forget to go to www.theqbsn.com for live broadcasts, game stories, pictures, and more. TheQBSN.com offers you everything you need to know about the Bobcat teams you know and love. Again, go to TheQBSN.com, the online home for your favorite Quinnipiac sports.
Back here in Hamden as we head to the top of the 4th, and after a kind of long, odd first inning, we're going through here as we head to the top of the 4th. The Bobcats lead it 5-4 as Castillo is coming back in, and he is going to face the top of the order here for the Wagner Seahawks. It'll be Boyd, Brown, and Higgins to lead it off as Boyd, who is 1 for 2 on the day after reaching on an error and doubled in his last at-bat, and playing some mind games with Castillo on the base pass. And he's going to dig in here to lead off the 4th. The left-hand hitter with an open stance is going to step in there. That one is in the dirt for ball 1, and something Castillo has really calmed down after a pretty rough first inning, has been able to hit his spots as of late. The 1-0, as that one is hit and drilled, lifted into, left center field. Coming over is Farina, is going to camp out underneath it and squeeze the glove for the first out of the inning.
And the way Seth Boyd reacted after he swung and popped that one up to left center, he was not happy with himself. That was a ball that caught a lot of the plate, and Boyd had a chance to put a good swing on it, but didn't get enough of it, and instead flew out lazily to left center field.
So Eddie Brown, the human magnet, will step up as he is 0 for 0 on the day after reaching on his last 2 at-bats, being hit by a pitch, and that one is a breaking ball, swung on and missed for strike 1.
He was swinging with a purpose there. I think he was sick of getting hit by a pitch, and he was swinging for the left field fence, but swung through it there for strike 1.
It'll be an 0-1 to Brown. That one is in yet again for ball 1. Another one close as Brown left game one after getting hit in the head on a pitch. That one is low, just under the knees for ball two as Castillo looking to hopefully grab a strike count there, laughing back towards the mound, but making quick work yet again. It'll be a 2-1 to Brown. That one is up and stays up for ball three. So 4 pitches thrown in a matter of about 6 seconds here, and is a 3-1 count